Hi, so I took a little break from YouTube. I had a lot of stuff I needed to do. Now I'm back. So thank you to everyone who's watched my videos and liked and subscribed and posted comments and questions in the meantime. It'll take me a little while to get round to answering your questions and comments, but hopefully, this month I should be getting on with that as well. So I want to talk about what can go wrong in an eye exam because of my last experience. And I did think, should I do this video? Should I honestly give these people attention? But I've decided, yeah, I should do it because I should outline what can happen so that people are aware of it. So recently I had a fairly comprehensive eye examination to check, there were no diseases and what have you. I'd been sent by my optician. So the first half was checking for eye diseases. There were a couple of things I felt that should have been noted and weren't. The first was the guy actually had to hold my eye open during one of the tests because it basically wasn't open, and I didn't know. I thought I'd opened my eyes wide, but apparently I hadn't, and it would have been nice to have some feedback and maybe a bit of discussion about that. The other thing was, during one of the tests, my chin actually started to shake. And again, it would have been nice to have it pointed out or discussed or something. And with a chin shake, it's not something you can voluntarily do yourself if anyone fancies actually trying to shake their chin right now. But apart from that, that examination went as it went. Then I was in a room with the eye doctor, and this is where things really went wrong. So first I was tested with the autorefractor, and then I had to read a chart on a wall. And when I before having the test, she actually asked, so why did you choose to go to the optician that sent me? And I didn't think at the time, but that sort of question, that is a real red flag. It should raise every red flag and alarm bell in the book, because this is a sign that where you get why questions in any sort of medical examination, this is a sign that the person examining you is actually skeptical, that you have the condition that you're being sent for or that you say you have. And I didn't latch on to this, and I honestly should have just said, is that even relevant? I was sent from that optician, end of story. So if you're ever asked a why question, just stop and think about whether you actually need to answer it. So I looked in the autorefractor, and that actually went okay because I've had a lot of practice at relaxing my eyes. Then I was asked to read projected letters on a wall. I think it was the 2020 line given the size of the letters. And I was told I was emetropic. That means having 20/20 vision, and she asked if I had any questions. So first off, obviously I said, look, I have had other examinations under cycloplegia which have shown hyperopia, long-sightedness. So why is, you need to explain why there is a difference here. And her answer was, and this I have a real problem with, she said straight up, well, that an autorefractor will give a different result from what you call the push fogging test. So that is where you look through various lenses at letters on the wall. That's the push fogging test. So she said straight up, the autorefractor will give a different result. And the other test is subjective, so we don't count that. We only count the test that was done on the autorefractor. And that obviously is wrong, because if different tests yield different results, and in my case quite different results, then the other tests need to be taken into account. The push fogging test here was just dismissed as irrelevant. That should not have happened. That is a legitimate test, and it is performed where you can't, especially where you can't always perform a test on an autorefractor, because not everyone is a suitable candidate for the autorefractor. And also, if you do have hyperopia, then the push fogging test should be done first in any case, and then the autorefractor can be taken afterwards if you use them. Not every practice uses them, not every practice likes them, but basically my other prescriptions, some of which I've had from the same practice over years, also under cycloplegia, were just thrown out, basically. I was then told that at my age, because I'd had the autorefractor test and then I'd read the letters on the wall, apparently my mistake was to read the damn letters on the wall. But I was told someone of your age wouldn't have the accommodation to do that. And I straight up said, hold on, in my last test that I had, the amount of accommodation was measured and I had a lot of it. My last test being some 6 months ago. And she didn't care about that. She just dismissed it. And this again is wrong, because there are, it's kind of like saying, well, thin people can't get gout. There is always a generalized, if you have conditions, there are going to be generalized conditions or generalized criteria for who gets such and such a condition, or when a condition will occur, perhaps, but you can never rule something out completely. There are always exceptions to every rule. Now I can bring up an example by looking at Beethoven. Why was Beethoven deaf? The debate goes on and on. He in fact had otosclerosis, where the bone grows into the ear. That's why he was deaf. But the debate goes on because you only get that in one ear. But just because it's a general doesn't mean that it never ever happens in a different way, or because he had it in both ears. The bone grew into his ear canal in both ears. He had otosclerosis in both ears. It's very unusual, but clearly it can happen, and it did happen. So to be summarily dismissed, basically, when I told her, whoa, hold on, I know I have that much accommodation and it was measured, that was completely wrong. And I said, yes, I did read the letters, but it wasn't pleasant. And what she then said was, well, that's apparently because I've worn glasses. So we have some patient blaming here. And I need to stop wearing glasses and only wear a +2 when I'm reading. And I said, whoa, that's not even going to cut it. But yeah, the reason this was completely wrong, because I have legitimately been prescribed glasses since 2008. So I have legitimately had a diagnosis and been prescribed glasses, and in fact I have always worn the glasses I've been prescribed, because even if I've been prescribed at a later date, I've still been prescribed those glasses. So I had a legitimate long-standing condition. I've worn the prescribed glasses for it, and now I'm to not wear glasses and only wear a 2 when reading. And the problem with only a 2 is the people who should be wearing a 2 would be younger than me. So this was factually incorrect on top of everything else. So the lady now referred to a previous diagnosis that I'd had, and I talked about this in some of my other videos when I went to an optician here and it didn't go so well. He was patronising, he didn't listen to me, he asked me to do things that were uncomfortable and didn't take account of the fact that it actually hurt to do what he was asking. And he'd apparently written quite an essay which she was referring to. But this was someone I went to quite some years back. This was not from the optician who sent me, but that was the diagnosis that was taken as read. And I don't know how that information got to the eye doctor, because I certainly didn't give my permission for it. Now, it could be that here in Norway, things do go into a central board, if you like. But if not, I did not give my permission for that to be passed on, because I was so unhappy with how that went. So I really hope there has not been a breach of confidentiality here. And obviously the fact that I was dismissed in this way, that's completely wrong, because she did not take a history. And I don't know if the other chap took a history, and if he did, then we could have a situation where stuff got lost in translation, because we were dealing with this in English, so I didn't have quite good enough Norwegian to deal with all the technical language, and he had, I mean, he did have good English, but maybe not enough to deal with all the technical language. So it's very, very possible, in fact, that something could have got lost in translation. So there could be information that is factually incorrect there. I mean, the fact that she did not take a history, she didn't confirm a history or take a history, that means that she came to her conclusion without even knowing that I'd been prescribed glasses a long, long time ago in the first place. So, I mean, obviously I ended up really, really not happy at how this had proceeded, but also this is something that is going to be full of factual errors and is going to be basically incorrect. So this is what happened, and in a nutshell, the problem here was not enough information was taken. Obviously, before the examination, it wasn't confirmed with me. There was no dialogue with me. I was just given a directive and told to do this, that and the other. And obviously I was dismissed. So other important information was, other information that was there was just slung out. So that is what happened. So this is how things can go really, really wrong. So I hope no one actually has this or will have this. And I'm kind of putting this out there, not really to scare people, but to be aware that things can go like this. So really to just be aware, and if you're ever asked a why question in any medical examination, I would say just don't answer it. Just say, look, why is not relevant, or you must ask, well, why is this relevant? And don't accept something like, oh, just to get a bit more information. No, push. So yeah. So I'll be putting up a few more videos as well. So please like, subscribe and comment. See you in my next video.